All right, let's start. Okay, good morning everyone, and we will start our workshops in this year, like from today, and hopefully then we'll be able to produce something every few weeks or so. And I'm starting from basic of comp organization, and thank you everyone. I asked yesterday guys to join from Trickster, and because as well, usually I'm not kind of like advertising too much things, but I see this workshop, maybe again, as I wrote, not the most interesting workshop in the world, and a lot of blah 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 and things which are not exactly cool stuff. But I consider this as a workshop which is in my opinion, can affect you fastest way and let you basically be more efficient way faster than if we will go and concentrate on some stuff that we'd like to concentrate as technical things. Just a moment, I will and yeah, and here we are. So let's start from introduction. So if somebody don't know me, and because I see few more people, I'm working at Trickstar, yeah, in the compositing department. I have some kind of like 10 years of experience comping, 5 years of being in the leading positions. And for a few years back, I think like exactly last 5 years, I started to ask myself, okay, what actually will be the essence that help someone to be very good compositor? And then I'm kind of like pretty much fast realized that we are not so special in our trade. So, and that's something that I didn't realize in the very beginning. I wanted to be cool visual effects artist, and then there's cool program, and you're going inside and you're doing cool stuff, and there's amazing tutorial that you can download, and then you can see how to do exploding, I don't know, mushroom, and that's what we are, and we like doing this very cool stuff where everybody excited by us. And what is missing frequently for us, it's just to step backwards and see what actually we're doing. And when you're doing that, you understand that the tasks that you're doing, they may be done in some specific software. It's very cool part of the kind of like world that we are in VFX that nobody understands. But generally all the tasks that we're doing, they can be make a parallel to other professions, to other tasks that we're doing in our life. And what is good with that, when you're doing this, you can learn way more. So you don't have any more, well, there is cool tutorial on certain aspect on camera tracking, okay? But you can step back and you can learn from different people on very different levels, which did live actually in very different times, on how to accomplish tasks, because that's what we're doing. We have certain projects, we have certain tasks, and nobody's teaching us that, or not nobody, because right now there's really a lot of kind of tutorials and stuff, and people starting to reflect on that more. But basically when I was starting, I was like, okay, look, this is the Flame book, read this, and then like, you know, you're ready to go, but nothing general. And what I did, frankly, a few days back, I said, okay, I will prepare my workshop, and like I will try to run now, because not run, be faster. Okay, sorry. I prepared my workshop, and then I was like, well, let's try to find something that I believe that I can make quite a simple parallel. And I went to the internet and I said, well, show me please phases of any project, general. And I found few sites, and now I just changed phases of compositing process instead of phases of the project. And this is project on the kind of like, I don't know, people which dealing with money, with cars, salesman, and anything else. And we will see, well, that's actually something that we could relate. Okay, so right now I will just run through 4 phases. There's sometimes it's 5, but 4 main phases of any project. And I will consider for us as compositors specifically right now that our project is a shot. Okay, so what we're doing before we're starting to work on the shot. So the first thing first, it's initiating. Okay, so you're getting your material, and I will kind of read very fast. So basically, you're defining your project, what you're going to work on. You're sorting out your goals, the scope of your work, and all the resources that you have for your shot. You're clarifying what the stakeholders are expecting from you, which is your lead, your supervisor, coordination, production, and VFX supervisor, and what you're aiming to achieve and why. Okay, it will give you basically way clearer direction what to do. Okay, so the steps of initiations are, well, I just basically change few words here and there, but first you're communicating with all people which are connected to this project. Scope, identifying pitfalls, potential complications. Now you need to define your goals, and it's supposed to be tactical and strategical goals. So strategical, basically, then the shot will be there, and tactical, it's okay how I'm going to tackle some tasks, but it's already planning. That's already next one. Then you need to see, of course, here it's about the team size, and I left it here. You say, well, I'm compositor. No, you're working in team all the time, and this is big deal of issue when people don't understand that they're part of the team in our profession. Okay. And the combined approach proposal, and let's go to next one. So let's say we initialize, so that was the first step. Then the second one, you're starting to plan. So you collected all the information that you have, you know the people, you know when you have to deliver, you know what is your budget, okay, and you know what is the material that you're working with. And now you're starting to outline your steps, how you're going to tackle that. When you're expecting that, well, I will probably have my first version here. So you're deciding on your milestones and developing a schedule, determining how to often communicate with team members, assessing and managing risk by creating the risk. Okay, so the planning, basically, it's something that it's a very essential part together with the first part when you're just getting your material. And that's something that what I would like you to invest a lot of time, because what's happening usually or frequently, we're jumping directly to execution. So let me pause a little bit on the planning, because it is really, really important. And just to give you kind of like, try to give you an example. What's happening when you're getting a shot? We're bidding on the shot, and bidding usually is going to be, let's say, average like 6-7 days for compositing to accomplish the shot. 7 days of compositing, it's multiplied by, it's approximately 50 hours. Okay, this is important to make this kind of understanding. 50 hours you're going to work on the shot. How long you investing in planning and initialization? Usually 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This is completely, when you see it like that, you say, well, no, I need to invest more. And I highly recommend you to invest more, because it will affect you very fast, and it will translate in hours. If you didn't prepare for your shot, if you didn't understand your goal, if you didn't check that you have all materials. Good example, you have to erase something from the background, you have to replace some part of the background, you checked what you have in your shot, you're like, I don't have actually background, I'm going to paint that. And you have 2 days of paint now. Like that, boom. What you could do, you could invest 10 minutes. 10 minutes, it's a lot of time. And go through similar shots in the same sequence and find the background. So you solved in 10 minutes problem of 2 days. So you see, it's not comparable. And that's why I want to show you basically the phases, and that you always also will know, okay, where am I? You started, and then, well, let's invest in this phase, because on the global scale, it is no time to invest half an hour and not touching the shot, doing nothing. Okay? And half an hour, it's huge amount of time when you're in the middle of your working day and you have production on your head, and so on and so on and so on. And we frequently and mostly, we're just losing that. We don't actually, like, okay, I have this, I have that, okay, let's go, I have camera, and so on and so on. Okay? So this is 2 phases that are extremely, extremely important to start with. Let's go to next one, execution. And that's the phase that we find ourselves a lot and most of the time. Okay, so executing a project means putting your plan into action and keeping the team on track. Let's say keep yourself on track. Generally, this means tracking and measuring your progress, managing your quality, mitigating risks, managing the budget, and using data to inform your decisions. Guys, this is a lot written here. So when you read, like I'm reading that, I'm like, well, yeah. And why I'm saying, well, maybe it's like, well, Alex, understandable what you're talking about. Well, when you know in which phase you are, you know what to pay attention to. If it's not happening naturally to you, but you're supposed to, okay, I'm already in execution, so let's ask myself these questions. Am I in a budget, or I'm like already too far beyond that? Why is this happening? You have always to stop and ask yourself. Very frequently I hear with the people which not very organized compositors, after like few days of comping, I'm asking, dude, why it's so slow? Why it's kind of like, and he's like, no, I'm allowing, there's a lot of changes, and I will fix my script a little bit later whenever I will understand what's happening. And I'm looking on the timeline and see like, well, this is like already 4 days of comping, and shot's supposed to be done in 3 days. So this guy is definitely not in the planning, not in the beginning of his comp. He's already long inside of execution, and he really need to stop. And that's something that I see when I hear person explaining to me stuff, why things are not, but there is simple facts. Where are you in the timeline? Then ask yourself, okay, am I in planning phase? So I'm investing in that. Am I right now in execution phase? So I'm supposed to be already on certain level, on certain tasks, and I need to ask myself, where am I every time? Execution is the longest phase that we have. It usually will take like approximately 90% of our time. Okay, because usually we're also skipping the initialization and the planning. We're just running there. And this is super essential that we always will be aware. Where are we? And ask our questions. So steps of execution, again, using tools to track your progress. So always you have to be reflective on what you're doing and not just rush. That's something that happens a lot. People just going inside, concentrating on something little, which is in their opinion so amazing. But you always have to step backwards and see, well, generally, what is the priority of this specific task on the big picture of the shot? And then if you see that, well, I just went in a rabbit hole right now for 3 hours, and this is a lot of time for this little pixel, you need to kind of like basically stop. Responding to risks, for example, recording your costs, it's the same example that was right now. You need always like, well, what are my priorities on the big scale? And of course, well, stay motivated on the task. It was there. It's like it's usual thing. If you're not, but we maybe will touch the issue of motivation generally. And of course, always be in communication with your leads in production while you progressing on your task. Extremely essential. It is really, and I'm step back, kind of like I'm talking from my experience a lot as compositor and also as a lead person on the projects and right now in department. We do love to have a lot of communication. I love this as compositor. I was bugging my lead quite a lot, or supervisor. Have a look on that. Please give me feedback. And he knew where am I. And right now when I'm working with people, I do like to know where this person and where am I on this project. So we always know, okay, I'm expecting that, and he knows that he need to deliver that. Or if he has something, he's like, okay, Alex, have a look on that. I'm giving a feedback, and this is collaboration. This is the best part of my work as a visual effects artist. It's this collaboration. And if this is cut, that's starting, it's kind of like will be source of many problems. So the last one will be closing the project. So this is basically whenever you're finishing, it's kind of like post-mortem. It's a little bit less, I think, important for our shots. It's more when you're finishing the project. It's a really good thing to stay and reflect. We did quite like, if you guys, somebody of you worked with me on my project, we always had conversation and then just to see what went good, what went bad. And this is quite important to learn of the things that that's happened. And the biggest part, or not biggest, very big part of things that I learned in my professional life, it's what not to do. Because things went wrong and you're learning from that. Things went good, you're learning from that as well. And this is something that you can always reflect on your work, on work with your supervisor, and so on and so on. So this is, I know it's pretty much, I stepped now out from the comp, and right now I will try to jump inside of my comp, and we will see if I will be able to connect. Just give me a moment. I think I'm still crashing. Updates. Yeah. Okay, we don't have yet the connection. So let me just keep going with the theoretical part, but way closer inside of our Nuke. Okay, so what I would like to do now is to outline my steps when I'm working. And again, disclaimer, so everything that you hear right now, it's not the truth, okay? It's not the thing that you have to do, okay? It's something that like one of the people in the department is sharing with you. I have this and this experience, like some successes here and there, and that's something that I learned. What I would like to basically from your side is to hear that, because probably I have something to say after some years of experience, and then, well, think about that. Okay, if you didn't hear about that, try that. You can find better ways to do it, but frequently people just say, well, I didn't know about that. Okay, and now you will have opportunity actually at least to touch something that maybe you never did touch, or maybe it's something that will reinforce the way you approaching stuff. Okay, so let's go and start with the shot. And I cannot access Nuke, but it's really not very crucial right now to access that. So first it's review your material. We are inside of initialization, and you have to identify all the issues that you may have, and that's happening a lot again because we're skipping this part. We find the issues too late, or we not finding the issues at all, and we basically slowing down our comp forever. Basically, for all these 10 days that you're going to comp, you are slower than you could be. Okay, so for example, you have some material which is rendered and the bounding box is crazily huge. And this is AUVs that arrived from lighting, and somebody forgot some object there and they didn't crop the bounding box, and there is like, I don't know, 25 layers that we're carrying, and this is huge, and you're complaining, render farm is failing. Well, invest this half an hour on checking your material in the beginning. Check that you don't have missing frames. And right now I will go sometimes in specific and go back. Okay? So then, and this is really next one, for example, you're receiving alembics. I would love to touch alembics, because if you're getting some LiDAR scan, guys, disable this all the time and don't use it. Like really, I see zero reasons and most of the cases to use LiDAR scan. LiDAR scan is not optimized. It's usually with huge amount of polygons, and it will kill your script eventually. Okay, so check your alembics, check your cameras. Well, simple test, is your match move is good or not, because later it will be harder to fix if you already produced some tracking from that, and so on and so on. So first, technically, is our material okay? The next one is the essential part that we did already many workshops on that. It's look on your shot, okay? And look on your shot 10 times, 20 times, 30 times if needed, just to see what you have to do there and what is your material and what is the order in your shot. And the first kind of like technical advice that I would highly recommend, I'm doing this in every single shot, you're starting to comp, you're comping from behind to front, meaning you're positioning all your layers in comp exactly as it's happening in real life. If you have the background will be the first layer, then you have me, and then you have a cup. Okay, these three layers, they have zero connection between each other in real life. Each one of these layers is living happily and fully, not cut by anything, and this cup is completely not affecting me, and I'm completely not affecting my background. Important to understand, Nuke is extremely giving you a lot of freedom, and people abusing that, they don't understand they have to give some restrictions, and this is one of restrictions. You have to comp in the way that you will be modular. And here I'm coming back to divide and conquer. This is the, if not the most important rule, this is one of the most important rules that you have to tell yourself. You need to build your script in a modular way that every time you can take out Alexey and the background will stay amazing and clean. Or you will take out this cup and there will be no hole in Alexey. And here we're starting to remember maybe stencils that you did put here and there, weird stuff that you did. When you're comping, we're supposed to be separated. Now let's talk about materials, and that will affect as well how we're comping and which effects are coming in which place. Guys, please update me when Trickster will wake up finally. Okay, so which materials we have in our scene, and you have to just check, is it hard material, soft, is it gas, is it liquid, do we have particles, do we have light emitting material? All that will affect the way you will position your layers in your comp. And now we're arriving to lens, okay? Is our lens sharp or it's soft? Do we have aberration in our lens? Do we have defocus? Now, when we're looking on the first line and the second line, we're arriving to one of the biggest mistakes that most frequent mistakes that people doing. They're starting to put lens aberrations in the wrong places. They're starting to put glows on the beginning of the comps. For example, if we have very bright wall, somebody will put very big glow on this wall, on some part of this wall. But if we starting to examine this picture, like, well, wall is glowing, but there's no glow on his face when he's cutting this in front of that. So what's happening? In this case, we can say, well, there are particles in the air which are right now catching a lot of light, and that's why here we have slightly glowy feeling. But here we need to understand, well, he's inside of room, why there are particles? It's possible that it's a very dusty room, or maybe not. But if it's real glow, it will happen inside of the lens. And if you did examine your material properly in the very beginning, you're not going to do a mistake which will cost you later. VFX supervisor, I don't know, it feels weird somehow, because it's not natural what's happening. If you have glow, it's supposed to be inside of the lens. If you have dust and smoke, it's supposed to be in the proper physical space between Alexey and the wall. Okay, now we will have a look on the camera, for example, also. Well, what is the bit depth of your material? Is it compressed? Do you have motion blur? Do you have some clamping which is happening already after everything went through the lens? And this is as well, if you have one of these artifacts, it's going to be overall. Same with aberration, same with the flares, and so on and so on. Okay? So find absolutely all source material you have for your shot. You remember I already mentioned that. I kind of like did squeeze it in previous, like in the introduction. It is so essential. It's crazily essential to find everything you can. Like to bug your lead, to bug your ordinators. Frequently I was going to reference shoot inside of our library. We have some reference pictures that they just came and, like, you know, on the set somebody did pictures and there's like, yes, I need this because I just don't have that, and you cannot paint some stuff. Okay, check for potential issues with the source material. And I mentioned as well this resolution, bit depth. It's few things that some of them I did mention, some of them I didn't, but I think mostly I did. Organize your material in a reasonable way in node graph before starting to work. And now we're arriving actually to Nuke. And unfortunately, it looks like our update didn't happen. Trying to connect. God damn it. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. We keep going theoretically. Try to stay with me. I know that it's early and like we like to see pictures, but today it will be talking head. Okay, so now we outlined everything that we didn't outline. We collected our material. What's happening at Trickster, we're asking everyone to put all the stuff on the top of the script so you see all the sources there. Okay, we're kind of pretty clear. Now, how do we start to comp? And I think I will, start with my Nuke here. It is completely empty, but at least I will be able to show to you a little bit on the way how I would approach stuff if kind of possible. So first, define your resolution. Do not leave it for the chance. And like I don't have here material, sorry about that, but I will start always with reformat. I will not start with actual material. Like I just brought some photo. I will start from reformat, and let's say a few elements to comp on that. I will always start, okay, first I'm connecting my background. Okay, next I will connect next element according to the depths. Okay, so yeah, just give me a moment. Sorry, have to improvise right now since we don't have. I'll just cut out something very quickly. Fun. I know. Beautiful. All right, so that will be my first element. Okay, so let's assume we have a mission. Let's just invent right now something. We have foreground, we have a background. Between foreground and background, we need to comp some elements. So first we'll define our resolution and we'll add first layer. And this will be my background. Okay, BG. Okay, my next layer will be the foreground, just them. Okay, but my foreground is actually this kind of like it's the same plate. Oh no, actually I'm lying. My next layer will be the element that I need to put between them. Okay, and let's say it will be this amazing checkerboard. So, and here we're starting with a very simple thing. You comping them in a reasonable way, which is that. Okay, so I have this, I have checkerboard, sorry, boom, alpha, in. So what's happening, we have a background, we have next layer which is going on top, and then we have next layer which is going on top of this background. And one of the things that I see quite frequently, it will be something like that. I'm also doing this sometimes. So people will just, well, I have to over now this, but with this alpha. Merge and let me just, and that will be the alpha in. So what's happened? I went out of my main tree, okay? Then I have this guy on top. So I went out, then I gave it new alpha, and then I went back, okay? So there is one additional little thing that you probably don't want to have full alpha, you want to have just inside of this thing. So what you could do, you could combine this alpha and this one. So let me make it a little bit messy right now. It will be in. So this patch will go on top, but only in this area of the circle. Okay, so but this is quite standard thing, and right now I would like to touch the thing that you would like to be in a modular way, okay, and you would like to examine your material and understand what actually you have to put in certain place. Okay, let's get rid of this thing. It's just a little rod, which we'll just say, well, we actually want more than that. Okay, so the first modular approach, we have our background. Well, fair enough, background is there, it's a layer. Now I can turn our background off and on, okay? But in this case, right now, we're turning on and off also our foreground, and our modularity is going kind of like away. Okay, now, second thing that I would like you to always pay attention, that you're not coming out of your main tree and coming back. And I see it huge amount of time that's happening because we do have fear that we'll do something wrong if we'll bring something else. But here we're coming to how we examine our material. So we have a background, in the middle there will be maybe fog, okay, or something else, and we'll say, well, this is foggy there, so the front's supposed to carry this as well. But this actual element of the foreground has no bloody connection to the background at all. The first thing first is will be the background, then there will be some element that we'll put, and in front of everything will be the actually foreground element, meaning that what we can do, so let's just create the material. We have a plate, and this is our plate. Okay, so I'll put my plate somewhere up there. So what we can do, and we should do, we should just take this plate, bring it here, and now we're starting to talk more about the modular approach. So what's happening, this plate is not related anymore to anything which is up there, and there will be more consequences while we keep comping right now this. We will see why is this starting to be beneficial. Now, so right now we can turn off the background completely, okay? So it's disappearing. Now we can turn off our thing, and we can turn on off our foreground. It's 4 different layers. Now what I don't like much to have stuff like that. So usually what I'm asking from people, it's to start to assettize their script from the moment they see that they're using some of the connection twice. So you see this connection, we're using this here and we're using this here. And what I mean by assettize. So you have your plate. Your plate arrived to you, it looks like that, okay, it was shot on some camera, you have no access to change anything there, and you're saying, well, this is it, that's my asset. Now, when we are in comp, especially in big comps, you kind of starting to feel that you really need to keep everything together, that actually have to stay there. But then when you're thinking about the render that you're getting from lighting, it's a big part of your comp. It's very important for you. And you kind of like living pretty fine with that you cannot change nothing in this render. You consider it to be an asset. And here now we have this part, which is amazing checkerboard .comp, and we're using this few times. So let's just make this an asset. I'll just say, I will call it check, and then I will connect it here right now. And then what you can do, you can bring it somewhere here and say, well, this is another asset that I have. This asset can be 4 nodes. This asset can be complete 3. But right now, since it used few times, you can just say, well, my check will be used here, and also I will use it here as alpha to cut my plate, okay, for this layer. So right now I'm simplifying my comp a little bit more, and I'm starting to get completely modular approach. Okay, so none of them is connected. I know, well, Alexey, there's 3 nodes in your script right now. That's not a miracle. Well, I know, but you have 3 nodes, you have 5,000 nodes. If you stick to trying to stay modular, you will see how easier it's going to be. Now, let's do some housekeeping. Okay, this is background. What is this? This is our check. Okay, this is our checker, and this is our patch on the top, on the foreground. Okay, foreground. Now, when we do work in this way, you want to be always sure that if you did assetize something, to bring it up to your script, because when you are here, you know that this is an asset, and if this guy is changed, it will affect your script in 2 areas. Okay, what is frequently happening, that we have some asset, and I will call it right now asset, something that we're using few times in your script. I don't know, that there's no kind of like connection to that, but let's say you have some guy here and you're starting to bring connections left and right, and there's a lot of pipes, okay, or no pipes, or it's kind of like, or it's stumps which are hidden, which is like even more evil, okay. But you are in the middle of your script, and then you see that you're going up and left and right. It's confusing. You're changing this, and you don't know that you're changing it here. You don't know that changing there. From the moment you say, well, I'm declaring you to be an asset, meaning you need to pay attention. You change that, check where, what is affected there. Okay, so I will jump now back to my basically reminder, because I'm afraid that I will now sleep a little bit. Okay, so we defined our resolution with the reformat node. We don't want to leave it to chance, and the very similar will happen or could happen here as well. And I'm doing this a lot. So this is very background, so I may leave it like that. It's also proper resolution. And then we're starting with the checker, which in this case actually also proper resolution, but element could be any resolution. So what you could do, you could create very little tree for yourself here, because this element will grow. We know that it will grow. And now when it will grow with additional treatment to that, you always will have little sub tree. So you're starting to build little branches. Okay, similar here. You could do the same. You not have to. Of course, we need to pay attention to bounding boxes. We'll get to this as well. Okay, build a healthy tree with logical branches. We will touch this even more now. Branches should correspond to distance from the camera. Branches should have sub-branches, and that's something that I showed you with the additional reformat, and we will start now improvise a little bit just to see, to show the importance of these things. Branches should have sub-branches. Sub-branches should be logically consolidated by depth and the purpose, which is pretty much same as we're doing here. Right now, we did we did put together our stuff, and we did comp them by basically by depths. Okay, now when your branch is starting to be heavier with more stuff involved, you would like to start to consolidate that. You don't want to make your main tree heavy with effects and different little branches which are which we have there. Okay, so one of the things that happens quite frequently. Okay, we do want to add glow here. Okay, so let's say I will just do something like that. Okay, so I can actually do it in the checkerboard, but okay, so I'm extracting the and then I will just, guys, I know I'm kind of like glow only. Okay, so we did add glow, and then we have something like that. This is very, 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 we make it plus, okay? It's very, very usual thing to happen, and I'm pretty sure that you saw it in your script as well, okay? So we have this glow. I'm doing few mistakes here, but we will get there in a moment, okay? So we would like to add something like that. And the problem here that there's few things. So the second problem is that glow is not happening here. Glow will happen inside of your camera, which means in the end. This is kind of like the usual thing that we need to realize. The second thing is the consolidation. And here we're coming to the basically healthy tree and healthy branches. You want to build your branches as big as possible while leaving your tree as easy as fast as possible. And this is something that people know, no, I have to plus this here because it's plus on everything. Well, plus is operation which doesn't care about the B pipe. It cares only about A pipe. So, and also if we're grading something, you always can, let's say you have magical glow, let's assume it's something like plasma, okay? You absolutely can do something like that. So we plus it back, we did it here, plus, and we're overing. The result is absolutely the same, but what do we still preserving? We're still preserving our modular nature, meaning we can pre-render, we can disable every branch of ours, okay, without affecting anything else. It was impossible previously because we were like twice connected here, so we are not able to pre-render this glow. Okay, talking about pre-renders, W, what you would like to have, and it's to pre-render every branch that you have here, here, and I would prepare as well one write node already here, even so I will not pre-render that. Okay, all texturians, it's comp elements and caches. If you're staying in modular approach and you're not starting to put overwhelm your main tree, you will be able to pre-render all of that, and your script will be close to the real time. Now let's have a look what's happening here. We have this, and then we have this on top. Let's see, where is my, I don't have alpha for some reason. Yeah, sorry, I'm usually working with auto alpha. So let's see why my auto alpha is dead. Alpha is here, plate, alpha, second. I do have alpha. Ah, I did add right node, probably it's, yeah, sorry, I'm not used to RGBA. Okay, now it does make sense. Actually, now we also, A, it makes sense. B, we're starting to see problems with glows, which I love that I have it right now. Just a second, I will disable my write nodes. Disable, disable, disable. Okay, so this is the result when you do put your glow in the wrong place. Okay, so we did put our glow is here, but it's actually supposed to happen inside of the lens because this element is so bright that the rest is kind of like, you know, not very important. So if I will just take this guy out, and let's say I will bring it here, so that's where the glow is supposed to happen. Now we have here mild issue right now because we're glowing everything, so you would like probably to bring your checker, which is already pre-cut with everything, here as a mask for glow if you want to concentrate just on your checker. But usually what is a kind of like, it is possible as well if your checker is prepared properly. So if your checker has proper color correction, which is very, very bright in this case, that's the one which will glow in natural way right now, while all the background will not. You can, again, now what you can do, you can actually just to take your checker from from the stream and let it glow on top. It will pretty much depend on your comp. If you applying everything on top of everything, and you can just say, well, the range will be a little bit less, you will get away with basically with this application. Now, but this stuff like that's supposed to happen only in very end, because that's something that happening inside of your lens. Okay, I spent too much time on the checker. Let's keep going. Stick to simple logical operations in your script. Stay away from mix and stencils. Okay, so that's something that happens tremendous amount of time, that people saying, well, I have, for example, I have to put this checker in between the, let me duplicate my tree. I need to put it in between the background. Okay, so they will have a background. They will have an alpha, Control C, Control V. Let me see how it will go even. I'm not. So basically I have this. Okay, that's right. I don't need this. Merge. I will show you in a moment. Stencil. Nailed it. Okay, that's it. Even don't need additional layer, but like 10 knots less. Now, what's happened here? We have our checker. We created the foreground matte and we did stencil this out. Okay, and then we did comp it. Result is one-to-one the same as we did in our modular way. The problem is right now that this is not proper healthy layer. That's not exist in the kind of reality. And you're really like, Alexey, who cares? Well, because everything you will try to treat right now will be very much fucked up. Okay, you will try to treat edges. You need to consider so many things that you have this holdout. Okay, so you will treat your edges in this way. But then when you're connecting with the original material, there is millions of problems with jumping on you, which you completely don't have to solve. And I saw scripts, if not hundreds, but dozens of, hundreds of scripts when people creating huge stuff here just to solve the problem that they did stencil stuff. Okay, don't stencil stuff ever. Okay, please. Another problem that we could see, it's something like that, which is I see very little lately that over is happening in this way, that we have our element and then we have basically inverted mask of the background and overing in this way. Result is the same, completely bad. Why? Technically, well, you're fine, you're just adding the mask. Well, now you don't have proper layer here. Okay, you do have proper layer, actually, I'm lying, but you will, if you would like to pre-render something, you will have to put your pre-render here, and maybe your masks are super heavy, and you need to pre-render it here. Okay, so you're already kind of like breaking your modular way of working, because these guys actually, they belongs to each other, and you have to do more pre-renders and start to be like just, again, messy things. And we're talking about very little script that I have right now and not the huge and amazing script that you will have later. Use natural world operations. This is my preference. So guys, if you like hard light, soft light, go for it. I see many people using screen. If you know what you're doing, go for it. If you know how operation works, go for it. But the usual stuff, it will be over. When one layer is over above another layer, stay away from key mix as much as you can. Key mix is not natural operation. It's very rarely you need to use it, and people tending to overuse that. Think how you can solve everything with over. Plus, it's natural operation. It's your reflections, you are plussing them. Some people will say, well, that will be hypod, which like fine. Or screen, well, okay as well. Why do I like plus? With plus, I can very easily just rearrange my script and take my glow, wherever was it, okay, and put on the branch that I want to have it, for example, here, without thinking about the B branch. So there is no connection to the B branch. So with the screen, I believe that there will be. With operations like overlay, multiply, you cannot rearrange stuff anymore because it is actually in relation to your B stream. Okay, so most of my scripts will be just over and plus, and of course multiply, because that's the like the way that we treating exposure. And that's 3 operations that should be mostly in your script. If you feel that you need to go to another one, well, think why, and maybe you not have to. If you're staying more simple, there is less problems in your script usually. Position pre-renders in the logical areas. Let's go back to pre-renders. And I'm very huge advocate for pre-renders. What do I mean by logical place? Now, let's have a look. So we have our stuff here, and I would like to have light wrap here, because this thing is super bright. So I will bring again my light wrap node, and I will position it here, and light wrap is expecting bstream, and then disconnected, and then that's what I'm getting. I'm getting this very nice light wrap, okay, on the front of my element. I know it looks crap. I will have to, like, basically what you can do, you can just make your rod bigger, so you actually you're solving all these problems. Okay, fine. So, but now we have a light wrap, but right now I'm here to talk about the pre-renders. Logical way. You remember we were making our check an asset, and then what's happening from the moment you're changing your asset, you need to see what is affected in your script. Okay, and in this case we have 2 areas which affected here, 1 and 2, and then we have pre-renders there. Okay, so you need always to see that your pre-render is pre-rendering a module which is connected only to sources. And right now I'm treating my asset as a source. I know I'm replacing that. I have to go and re-render my pre-renders. Nothing new with that. You're replacing your lighting renders, you're going and re-rendering your pre-renders. Now, and this is cool, I'm just going here, pre-rendering, or going here, and then here I did a mistake. What I did, I added light wrap from the main tree, and then I have my pre-render happening. And this is one of the kind of like rookie mistakes that many people doing. You don't want to pre-render something which is affected by main tree or by elements which are located in your script somewhere in the middle of your script. Okay, so you want to put your pre-render in the area when your stuff are connected only to sources or assets that you defined. You will prevent in complex script any confusion. What I'm doing, sometimes it is impossible, and I see like, well, I have to do it. So I will just, I will probably leave a comment for myself that this is dangerous pre-render, that I need to change this because it's affected from some stuff up there. But generally, let's say as a workshop, try to have your pre-renders in the areas which are not affected by anything else. So pre-rendered, and then you have very light pre-render of your branch, which is using the light wrap from the main tree. You are pretty happy, you keep going. All right, then next one. Be sure you're working on only on the areas you need to work on. Guys, crops. Okay, many times I'm laughing because people saying, well, this is so heavy and it's not moving and my script is dead, but actually he needs to replace, or she needs to replace very little part in the script, which is like this. What you can easily do, crop this part, which we can easily show here. You're cropping your checker here because that's it, or that's the area that you need to work on. Where is my checker? This. That's it. Crop it and work on this cropped area on your branch as much as you want, but keep always to minimum area that you're working on. Right now, since we're working a lot with the 4K, 5K, 6K, this is starting to be quite big problem. Be sure you're working on it. Lens distortion should be used in a logical way. I will skip it right now. We have not so much time, and I don't have prepared script. Compositing process and beyond moving nodes. So one of the essential stuff, it's ability to maintain your healthy script. And this is something super essential for us, something that I was like, well, I do want to share with you things when we're talking with the leads and we're hiring people, or we're firing people, or we want to keep people. We're never talking, well, he doesn't know how to key. When somebody doesn't know how to key, which is a big part of our profession, we're just saying, well, oh, we have full CG project here. Let's put him there. He doesn't know how to deal with 3D space. We have more easy project here. Let's put this guy there. Now, if somebody has messy script, we say, well, no, thank you. And not because we really like organized scripts, which we do. No, because this is going to fuck up whole project. It's going to take the best compositor or best lead that we have or supervisor in overtime to fix scripts that this very beautiful compositor did. And sometimes people bringing shots in no time to amazing look, and then in the end of the project, when we see that 5 shots of the same compositor are not final yet and compositor is going away, and then we have to invest huge amount of time and overtime to fix these things. So this is the essential thing, and that's why I have this workshop right now. Treat every feedback with a very seriousness. Try to understand why your soup needs. Okay, so that's something, right? It's beyond basically moving notes, but this is essential for us as professionals to stay always professionals and they see, well, what is our goal? And that's coming also to keep your ego in place. This is huge thing. It's not a big problem with junior compositors. Juniors so always like, yeah, I will learn. And then after a few years, you're just like, I'm senior. And I'm like, okay, fine. And that's amazing that people have like they're ambitious and stuff. But you always have to keep your ego in place. You always have to know that you're going to certain goal and you are collaborating with someone. Okay, you're collaborating with your teammates, you're collaborating with your leads, and unfortunately, with human nature, the higher you are and the longer you're doing something, your ego is starting to be more and more on the way, and this is huge, basic problem of a compositor. Because if your ego not in place and you're an amazing compositor, nobody wants to work with you because you're just not listening. You're just saying, well, I know everything better than you are, and frequently it's not the case. Back to the compositing. Try to not add nodes to your tree, so it will be no grade, color correction, saturation, grade, hue correct. Try to see that you can solve stuff in one node. It's kind of like fine to have few of them, but I sometimes see people overusing stuff. Do not afraid to split your script in few smaller scripts, and you shouldn't be afraid because you know how to work in the modular way, and this is modular way. Nothing holds you to take this huge 1000 script nodes branch, pre-render that and use it as an element because this is separated from your script. And you will see how helpful is that when your scripts will start flying instead of crawling, because you just, okay, I have 3 scripts right now, don't worry, making one, checking to render farm, meanwhile making second one, render farm, waiting till 2 done, rendering the third one. Okay, essential for fast work. Use dependencies when you're rendering. I will not touch this right now. All the time stop certain moments. If you're not used to that, make timer for yourself or something and check your bounding boxes. Check what is pre-rendered, what is not pre-rendered, because this is something which is pulling you down. You sometimes can work on the script, and I know that it's happening so many times, that you're concentrating here, and there's a lot of stuff to solve. But here, your background, you didn't touch already for 2 days in this area, and this area you didn't touch for 2 days, and it's running live all the time. Every time you're sending to render farm is spending like 5 minutes just to render this branch. Okay, so stop yourself, check efficiency of your script. The important part, okay, I will touch this. Make farm to work for you, fine. Optimizing your script, okay. Important part that I would like to close with is what it will give you when you're organized, when you know what you're doing in your script. And that's something that I learned about myself, what gave me edge on the people which were more talented than me in many, many ways. Because my scripts were organized, I was able to do many iterations a day. And then I was able to use the knowledge and artistic knowledge of people that leading me to give me corrections. I was able to bring, for example, instead of 1 version, 4 versions. And then there will be 3 crappy versions, and maybe my lead will be annoyed, but by the end of the day, I will have a good version because I was able to give many, many, many iterations. The faster you are, the more iterations you're doing, the more you're involving your VFX supervisor, your comp supervisor, which can help you to progress. The slower you are from unnecessary reasons, when your script is just slow, then you can be very talented and amazing, but you will bring 4 times less iterations than organized compositor. which means organized compositor will have an edge over you, even so he's not as technical, not as artistic, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, 2 minutes left. I was rushing. There was not much node magic. I kind of like accept that, but I'm done. Something that you would like to add, something like you would like to ask. We have very little time, but now it is the time.